me, I'm next in line. Move. Excuse me, I'm next in line. Watch out. Excuse me, I'm next in line. I said move. Excuse me, I'm next in line.
Hello, folks, and welcome to another episode of Will's Review. I'm your host, Will D, and with me...
What's up, bro?
So today we're going to have a pretty different episode of Will's Review because there's something I've been kind of, watching over the last few weeks, and I've mentioned it to you guys, that today we're going to really do a focus on comedians of the world. But before we get into that particular special, there are a couple other series I want to get to, and first things first, the Patriots won, like I said, so I'm awesome. Just putting that out there.
You're not awesome. It's just basic common sense. Like,
No. Because I predicted it, I'm awesome. That's it. That's just how this goes.
Well, I'm gonna take you to a dog race so you can predict that, so I can make some fucking money.
I don't like dog racing.
That sounds like a personal problem. I need money. That's why. So
So
we're
gotta
gonna
start.
take you there.
No.
Or horse racing. Which one?
I don't like horses either. I really don't. They smell bad.
Well, the only animal that doesn't smell bad are probably cats.
I love cats.
But even they smell bad sometimes.
No, they don't.
They do.
No, they don't.
They kind of do.
No, they really don't.
So I'm gonna take you to a tiger race.
They don't race tigers.
Jaguars.
Who races jaguars?
I don't know. Yo, make that a sport. I will pay to see that because Jaguar race would be dope.
Jaguar race sounds like somebody's dying.
Really?
Yes, because once you let it loose a bunch of running jaguars, you really think they're going to stay on a track?
If there's meat, yes.
No, because there's meat all around them in the audience.
Well, no, you have like the shields. You can get through.
I'm not
You ever been
trusting
to the
that.
zoo? Like you ever been
I've
to the
been
zoo?
to the zoo.
Like you see a
And most
gorilla,
of
a silverback gorilla slap the crap out of glass and still
Nah,
not break.
understand that most of the big cats at zoos are never close enough to the glass, especially not like with a running being the intention. I'm not going to be agitating a big cat, to do something because it'll be that one stupid fool who thinks everything's good, has to put them back, and gets mauled. Two gay guys raised a white tiger, and it ended up mauling one of them. You remember that?
Hey, it is what it is.
But there have been a couple of series that have come out, or continuing in certain cases. So one that I want to talk about is called Pen 15.
You're gonna have to explain that one to me.
I'm gonna probably have to explain most of this to you. So Pen 15 is the story of two awkward teens kind of trying to get through in the 90s. The best part is that the two teens are played by a 31-year-old and a 26-year-old, so they look very awkward compared to all the rest of the kids. One of them is half Japanese, and they're in a very white suburban neighborhood, so even that plays into it. You can find the series online. It's an
Netflix?
No. It's an awkward comedy sort of thing where they try to teach morals and stuff like that. In all honesty, I thought it was pretty entertaining. I just don't feel like it's for everyone. Although if you're a fan of the show Big Mouth, I think it's perfect for you.
Yeah, I'll watch it then.
Yeah, so this show is a 3.5 out of 5. But yeah, this part is this name, Pen 15.
When I heard Pen 15, I thought of like the pen, like jail.
No, it's not that. It's literally like what Pen 15 would stand for as a word, but you write it like that so teachers don't get you in trouble.
Oh, got it.
Because these are two teenage girls obsessed with trying to get a boyfriend.
That sounds like a familiar show.
Sounds like a lot of awkward teen shows.
Like awkward, awkward.
Literally awkward.
Yeah, it sounds like.
Yeah. Exactly, and she's the younger one between the two.
Wow.
She's younger than me, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Damn.
No, the point is that a lot of the stories that are taken in the show are taken from both of these actresses' lives. So they're that's why they're doing it. It makes it even more awkward that they're like grown people doing this. It's really great.
It must be really terrible for the psyche to relive those like memories. Like, oh damn.
Well,
like,
at this point, you're making money off of it, so no, it's kind of like I'm glad this happened now. I'm just saying. The next show is called, well, in English, it's called Always a Witch. It's a Colombian show, Siempre Bruja. So
telenovela.
sort of. So essentially, this is a show about a Afro-Latino from Cuba, or whose family is from Cuba, who was, I guess, burned at the stake for being a witch as she was a slave in Colombia. Because as a slave, her slave owner and her were cooking up, and the slave owner's mother was not messing with this. So she goes, she tells the Inquisitor, this is during the Spanish Inquisition, that this girl is a witch, and burn her at the stake, but because she is an actual witch, she used some sort of magic that she learned, and it warps her into the future, into our time. As corny as this does sound, don't get me wrong, the show has a very interesting take on, being Afro-Latina in, the Latin community, on the whole back and forth between time and the girl's magic. It's a pretty interesting story. Her relationships amongst her castmates, and it becomes very dramatic. But it's never too over-the-top cheesy like a novella, which is why I say kind of, sort of. It's legitimately a drama, but not a daytime one, if that makes sense.
I like the daytime. I like hearing the, Jose, why you do this? And then Paola comes out of nowhere. Jose, you are her too?
And then eventually somebody gets pushed down the stairs.
Or gets slapped, or something
Exactly.
dramatic happens. And she like,
Well, that doesn't really happen in this show. It's more, it turns into a bunch of these like magic tales kind of going on, and a spell gone wrong, this, that, and the third. The show had a lot of buzz going into it because, like, for the first time you have a dark-skinned female, like, leading a real, like, Spanish story, and it's about, like, her being a slave and getting power and giving it to slaves and all this nonsense, right? But then when you watch the show, although there is a gorgeous dark-skinned female as the lead, it doesn't really get to all the points where people thought it was going to get to. Does she become empowered? Yes. Does she try and help the slaves? Yes. But she's totally obsessed with her light-skinned male, slave owner, who he saved her from being with worse slave owners, but still kept her as a slave. So.
bro, they're not gonna tackle all social issues in one show.
Well, that was part of it, but it's just kind of like, why couldn't she have been in love with another slave? Why couldn't she have, there could have been other motivations for, first off, burning a black woman in general, right? Could have been her being a witch didn't need to be that, oh, the mother was doing it out of spite. It could have just been like somebody found out she was a witch and they burned her at the stake, blah, 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 blah. And she's trying to get back to her love, which is pretty much the whole story, right? Like her trying to get back to her love. So there was like no need for it to be the white slave owner, which is what a lot of people on the internet are like really pissed about. Me personally, I'm like, take a win. I think anybody who knows anything about Latin culture is kind of like the whole colorism thing. To have a dark person be the lead in anything, just let the story rock. Just be happy that a dark-skinned actress has a leading role, a good job, and people in general like it.
Facts.
I mean, come on. And then this is Columbia of all.
Well, this isn't a social like movie either. It's just like,
well, I mean,
it's a story.
They try and touch upon certain topics, but it really turns into more of a feminist thing than a racial thing, if that makes sense. So, like, date rape isn't something that comes up.
Well, that's not really feminist. It's just like it
No. I mean, like, when I say a feminist story, like, they talk about stuff that deals with more, like, a woman having to... as opposed to a black person or a black woman, just a general feminism, one of her friends had to deal with an ex-boyfriend who had a video of her and was, kind of blackmailing her into getting back with him. Otherwise, he would post the video and put it on the internet.
It still happens.
It's a Spanish drama.
Even in real life, when I heard that, I like my whole life I've been thinking like if that was to ever happen to me, I'd be like, go right ahead.
No. But we're guys. For girls who are like, I don't want the world to see my naked body. Yeah, I know. We don't understand it. Like I said, this is a feminist thing. Right, like what's the difference between a two-piece bikini and lingerie, and the difference why girls freak out about it?
Like I never like blackmail to me was always seen as some like bitch ass. Like, it's always been some like
when you watch the actual thing, it's actually really hilarious. Like the episode itself, though it's a really serious topic, the guy who's blackmailing her, every scene involving him is absolutely hilarious because you're just like, how dumb is this guy? And then even more so is, how dumb are you to ever be with this guy, to ever let him blackmail you?
Yeah, that blackmail thing, it's just like,
I was laughing through all
I guess because I grew up in the hood, so we always, that was some sucker, like something you just don't, this is nothing you particularly, like the most you do is show it to your homeboy, like, yo, yeah. But that's like.
Yeah, I know, but different culture.
Yeah.
But
Guess
all
so.
all in all, if you
Mike,
can,
she could have sued for
as
that.
as long as you're not some over the top wannabe social justice warrior, you'll enjoy the show. I call it a 4 out of 5, especially if you're under the age of 35, hands down. And last but not least, also another Latin American show, but this one's English. It's called One Day at a Time, and season 3 just came out. Literally just came out the other day, and I watched all of it in a single day. I love this show in general. There is the teenage daughter who's a social justice warrior, lesbian kind of whatever. The narcissistic, cool teenage son. This mother who's an ex-vet trying to find love and deal with the family. The over-the-top grandmother who's so Cuban, it's almost annoying, but still absolutely hilarious. Like, this show is great on so many fronts. I love how every season, right, they find a way to have all this comedy in there, and then they still end up touching upon a really serious issue at some point, but they don't get stuck on it, right? There's shows that get stuck on something and whatever, and it's like the driving force. No, like they do their little episodic things. They build upon past episodes. They keep a timeline, but it's never too serious because it remembers it's a family comedy. But it reminds like the good old Family Matters or Full House, things like that, where like good wholesome family comedy that has a message. And I absolutely love this show. It's a 5 out of 5, and everybody should watch it. Definitely. Yeah, you say that now. Watch it, MILF. MILF.
Well, I like Married with Children, but I only liked it because I didn't have cable. So it was like, it was on TBS all the time. So I was like only really watching it because
You didn't have cable, but you had TBS.
Yeah, that's not cable.
TBS is cable.
Not for us.
TBS is cable.
For us, it wasn't.
TBS is cable.
We had TNT, TBS.
Cable.
Pix. Well, it wasn't called Pix. It was called CW11 at the time.
It's still called CW.
No.
It was called WB.
That's what I mean. And then we only had the first 11 channels. That's it.
You didn't even have 13?
Is that PBS?
Yes.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So you had NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, UPN, WB, Channel 13, and then everything else after that was cable. Well, no, after 25 is cable.
Everything after that was just like infomercials we had.
Yeah, mostly infomercials, and you got TNT and CBS. Those are cable networks. You were somehow getting cable, bro. I'm telling you this.
I just remember we had the first 13 channels. We had basic cable.
Yeah,
Because we didn't have a cable box. We just had the axe that put it right back in the TV. Like, you know how you have to put a cable box now? We didn't have that. We just put it.
The master antenna into the.
And that's it. And it was like, we just watched those
So
first.
they were able to get free cable, sobs.
I was mad because I didn't get no Cartoon Network or nothing. I was like, damn.
That's premium cable.
Yeah.
On that note, we're going to go to our first commercial break. When we come back, it's going to start to tackle comedians of the world.
I don't
Charles,
know nothing
good.
about this.
Fake. She's such a slut. You can see the layers on her face.
Look at her chicken legs.
Oh my god. How short is that skirt?
I can't believe she'd even put that on.
Is that her dress? It's not even on her
It's
hardly.
not even covering her up.
It's actually disgusting. Oh my god. How can she do her hair like
I don't even know how this girl has
I
friends.
saw her talking to Holden the other day. Who does she think she is?
I bet she slept with the whole football team. She's not even pretty. She's gained so much weight. She looks like a cow.
Such a good idea. Watch this.
You're good. Oh my god, that's so funny. You gotta post that. I got an idea past this.
Oh my god.
radio station in the world. Is right here, right now.
Heartland Radio.
All right, and we're back. So, I'm going to preface this with a lot of stuff before we actually dive in. So first, comedians around the world is 13 countries. I think I got that right. So 13 countries, or not necessarily 13 different countries, but, you know, like, because Canada got split into English Canada and French Canada. And Australia and New
were they
Zealand were
speaking
combined.
English or was they speaking
No,
French?
Canada was in. So Canada got split into English Canada, where they spoke in English, and then French Canada, the French Quarter, and that was French comedians.
Got it.
So like, you know, so it's not technically 13 different countries, but you know they also had New Zealand and Australia together. So I guess you can break it up to 13 again because of that, but they were together. So I don't know. Anywho, so 13 different types of comedy essentially. 13 different regions of culture, and everybody giving their, you know, their take. The thing about this is that a lot of the comedians that were on this are not internationally known, right? Which is awkward because a lot of them have traveled the world, but they're not like internationally famous. Like if you go other places around the world and you say Kevin Hart, you know, people know who he is. If you go around,
They call them superstars, or like they're
right. They're not
like Richard Pryor, Dave Chappelle.
right. They're not ginormous superstars, and I mean, especially a lot of the foreign comedians, Americans have no clue who they are. Although a lot of the time that's due to our global ignorance anyway, because we're the U.S. Who cares about the rest of the world, right?
Well, we do make the most money, so yeah.
I mean, they come here. We don't know why they do, but we don't need to know why. We just know that they do.
Like right now, there's only there's one comedian who just recently became international. Trevor Noah's like the most recent one.
No, he's not the most recent one.
Who is that?
Hassan Minaj. And he's from the U.S.
I know who he is. I know exactly who it is.
And he's from the U.S.
He's the most recent one. Got it. I know he is. I didn't know who that was at first until I was like, remember, like, oh yeah, no, he has that show on Netflix.
But then at the same time, and I'm only saying him because he now has a syndicated show. But as far as well known, Joe Coy has become big lately because of the Netflix specials. And if you really look at it, it'd be a lot of the international comedians that now have Netflix specials because their specials get translated into a lot of languages. And these guys are now blowing up because of Netflix. So why this is so important is because you now have close to 30 new comedians who have been respected enough within their own country to now get a Netflix special to possibly take it to the next level.
I like the midget.
Oh, he was funny.
He was funny.
He was funny.
He is funny.
So the be-all, end-all is, I wanted to break this down, kind of give you my opinion on this series because I feel like comedy is probably the best way for people to learn about other cultures, right? To stand up there and have someone break down, you know, where they come from in a way that's amusing to you, but also let you know like the similarities and differences between you and let's say someone from France, right? You know, especially being black, right? We all have black issues all around the world, so there's something united there. What's the difference between being black in America opposed to being black in France or being black in, you know, Africa or being black in Asia? You know, and comedy is usually a way where people get a chance to travel the world and tell their stories because everybody laughs, they make some money, and this is great. This is a great opportunity to learn about different places. So I'm going to do this in order of worst to best. In general, my comedic taste is a bit more dark. My comedic taste is also like, I don't, you know, if you're gay, it's great, put it in your act, but if all you're doing is gay jokes, I don't want to hear it. Same thing if you're feminist, if you're black, if you're white, if you're stuck on your gimmick and you can't turn it from being just a gimmick into you know, relating to everybody else, I don't want to hear it.
I think saying that, I'm assuming that Richie Gervais is pretty up there in your comedy list.
Richie Gervais is hilarious. His last comedy special was so on point.
I know. I think he was the biggest one. And now that I'm just guessing, and Ellen was really low. Like to me, she was trash.
I can't hate on the Ellen special. It felt way more autobiographical than comedy, if that makes any sense. Like it just felt like she was telling her story, but the jokes weren't that great. And I'm okay with a really deadpan comic like her, like Seinfeld. Like, you know, it's not about, you know, moving around and a lot of big laughs. It's just a matter of if you're gonna be deadpan, make it interesting. And she was just very deadpan, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that happened to you. Like I just felt like I was learning about Ellen and not laughing with Ellen.
Yeah, I wasn't. Ellen didn't make me laugh for nothing.
Yeah, she's not your kind of comedian.
Yeah.
She's not at all.
No.
And I don't really feel like regular observational humor is your kind of thing in the first place.
No, it is. It's just like it has to be. Like Chris Rock is hilarious to me. And he does. He has a lot of observation.
He does more political than observational.
But he just points out a lot of common sense and then blows it out of proportion, which is hilarious. So don't get me wrong. I can watch a Jerry Seinfeld and be like, "Ha, that's funny," but Ellen was more like, "Please stop."
Yeah, it felt like she was trying to catch you up on 20 years of what happened in her life. I'm kind of like, well, we watched your show, so we're caught up.
Yeah, Fluffy.
Like,
Fluffy does the same thing, but Fluffy was funnier than her.
Fluffy is funnier, and in general, his form of comedy is storytelling, but he chooses specific stories for a reason. Normally, because this last special, like I said, was a little disappointing. Normally,
No, towards the end, I was. The only thing that made me laugh. No, it made me laugh, but the last part is the only part that I was like.
His bus driver was the best part of that whole thing.
Yo,
Enough said. See,
his son was pretty funny though, and when he met Chris Rock, was pretty funny.
I was more laughing at the part when the guy did it to him. Right.
I was laughing at the. Forget it. Don't worry.
So let's get into this. So first, like I said, I'm gonna start with the lowest ranked of the 13, the Middle East. And I'll know I'm not being racist. It's literally that the Middle East had 4 comedians, right? 4 representatives. Some of these countries had 4, some of them had 3. Out of the 4, there is one comedian who I can say I actually enjoyed his comedy because he made comedy more like, general humor. He tried to make it so that way if you were from France, you would laugh. If you were from the U.S., you would laugh. If you were from South Africa, you would laugh. If you were in Europe, he had a general form of comedy because he realized it was a Netflix special. Right?
So he was relatable.
He was making relatable comedy. He wasn't the only one. He was just the best at it. His name is Moyad. I'm gonna butcher the crap out of this last part. Al Nafai. Totally butchered that. My bad. But the first part, I definitely know I got. All right. And then the other comedian to mention is Adi Kaleta. Now, he also had a more general form of comedy, but it was definitely more, meant for a Middle Eastern audience. But that's what that's what I like. When I watch a foreign comedian, I want to learn more about what it's like where you're from. So I appreciate it, and he tried his best to make it more relatable, but I mean, he just wasn't as good as the other guy. The other 2 comics, let me explain this to you. The first guy made a whole bunch of jokes, which I feel Middle Eastern people sometimes wouldn't understand, right? Because some of them were so specific about Palestinians that other Middle Easterners who don't know Palestinians, I don't think they would get it. Some of it was so focused on what his industry is in the Middle East that certain people who don't work in the industry, I don't feel they would get it. And I'm watching there half the time trying to, getting lost between the Al Said and the Al this and the Al whatever, and then I'm trying to just get the general part of it, and I was more confused than amused throughout his entire performance, right? And that's the first guy from the Middle East. I couldn't tell you how more disappointed I was except for when I watched the Indian comedians, because Indian comedians on Netflix have been so good lately that when these guys performed from India, I was like, oh,
Well, most of
right.
Indian-
No, not true. No. Really not true. The best one wasn't even Hassan Minhaj. I got up. This guy, he's from India. He blew up in India. Even did a bunch of Indian movies, and he did his stand-up between India and New York. Right, that's the special. But he had more Indian jokes in India, and he had more general humor in New York. And I think that's the best part of his comedy, that he knows how to relate to the crowd that he's doing. So don't get me wrong. I understand why these guys are doing an Arabic show to an Arabic audience, and why they would have these Arabic jokes. But it's a Netflix special. The other comedian was a female. I don't know what her name was, but I know she spent the first 5 minutes of her entire act talking about how she likes to put water up her butt after she takes a dump. Right? And all of the Middle Eastern comics were very obsessed with bidets.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Most people never seen it, but they're kind of obsessed with it.
No. It's such a norm there that they were complaining about how I believe they were performing in France. They were performing either in France or in French Canada. I couldn't tell. The audience was different, but the area was the same. And essentially, they were talking about how because they came to a new area, they were very nervous about taking a dump because they couldn't properly wash their butt and they didn't want to have to shower all the time. That was their comedy.
Okay, actually, I was laughing because I told my mom one time I was gonna buy the thing that squirts water up her butt. She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Cause it makes your asshole cleaner." She,
I mean, that's what it's for. But essentially,
it really
I mean,
does.
especially to an American, it's just kind of like, we get it. You like bidets. To spend 5 minutes on it. Now, what I will say is that the Arabic audience that was there absolutely loved it. They were like, "Oh yeah, these stupid people. They don't know how they want to." So I mean, I get it. They did it for the audience they were performing for. But again, it is a Netflix special. They are not the only people watching. So comedians have to remember this. And then one thing I will say about a lot of the other countries is that they acknowledge this. One to go so far to even talk about how her last special, she watched it in every language to find out that the American version of it mistranslated her stuff. So she tried to fix what they mistranslated from the previous show. So, like, you know, you have to be attentive to the fact that you're speaking to an international audience, and when you develop your act, you have to be able to do it. One thing I will say for the Middle Eastern comics compared to the rest of them, a lot of them seem to have really awesome, high-paying day jobs. So very professional people. Might also be why their comedy, just saying.
It's that white collar humor.
Not even.
It's that old dad. Even dad jokes are funny, but
yeah, exactly. And after the Middle East is next the UK, which although we were talking about the lovely Ricky Gervais, it seems like a lot of his other representatives haven't figured out exactly what comedy is.
don't get me wrong. I like UK people, but it's like some of them accents a little too strong for me. So I'm like, what are you saying?
And the accent thing doesn't bother me. I watched all of Harry Potter. We're good.
Harry Potter. But the thing is, Harry Potter doesn't have people from Manchester with the really thick what are you saying?
There are a couple side characters, not the leads, though. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you get exactly what I'm saying.
But the best comedian there was Nish Kumar, which of course it doesn't surprise me that the non-white guy was best. Just saying. But he like a lot of the other Asian comics in general have some really good mom stories. There's a lot of back and forth with a lot of Asian cultures or African cultures, like foreign cultures. They have a lot of stories that involve their parents because family is a lot tighter than American households. And he has some really good mom stories. Like certain people, their mom is just a badass, and his mom is a badass. And behind that is May Morera. And I have to say, I'm not necessarily the biggest female comedian fan, but there's certain ones who are just really good, and I thought her performance was pretty stand up. And despite a feminist twinge, the ending of it was so perfect that it made up for all the parts that kind of bored me because of how she defines herself, and I'm not going to ruin it for you.
I can't really comment that much because I haven't watched it. I'm pretty sure probably not going to watch it because I have to catch up on a lot of other things too. Like my thing is I want to go watch the Lego movie now.
That was dope.
I didn't see it yet.
It was really dope.
I want to go. So I have to catch up on so many different other things. It was like I'm not really. As a matter of fact, I haven't even peeked all my video games yet, and I'm just like.
This is something to watch. I would say this is something to watch while you're going to school. Like the train ride to school. Remember, Netflix is downloadable.
I don't pay for my Netflix. My stepfather does, and when I'm going to school, I'm mainly listening to audiobooks with really crazy story. Like I'm not gonna mention what game. I'm reading the game, which is again for the third time because the story is so crazy.
Oh dear God. Next is India, who again I was disappointed because these guys were just kind of meh.
They always do the head joke like Indians dude.
One of them did do the head joke actually.
Most of them do that head joke, which is hilarious.
But honestly, these guys had really good bromance stories. The best comedy, the best comic from India, in my opinion, was a Ahul Kahari. And he just seemed
really butcher that name.
No, I think I got that one right. It's spelled weird. That's why you gotta get it right. But this gentleman is definitely a seasoned comic. And his entire performance, it was more about, I guess, his persona than actually the material that impressed me. Because he had full control of the audience. They were, I don't know how big he is in his country, but he's definitely that dude. Because everybody was just like, oh, he knows what he's talking about. He's the man. I was like, yo, This guy, like on stage, he has a lot of presence. I thought he was delivered a great performance. It was just kind of like
My man had that swagger.
Yeah, his swag was everything. Like, but the
He
material
could have been
itself.
black on the low.
Nah, not like that. Not like that. Nah, it's definitely not like that. But his
Disrespect.
his material was just kind of like I felt like I've heard it before, or some of the punchlines came across as expected to me.
Well, if you watch comedy as much as you do, then
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
So it's
that's
like,
I could tell he knew what he was doing, but it was nothing that really put me over the top. And the same for his other counterpart. His first name is Amit. His last name I will not even try. But he was also like pretty good. He just seemed like the class clown who got famous.
we're not giving a try.
Yeah, but I'm not even gonna. Not
Charles
that
is in
one.
the back trying to pronounce it.
Yeah.
It's like no one knows what
But
he's
no, I mean these are solid performances. It's just that one, they had only 3 comics in India. The female comic I was not really that into, and all in all, I expected so much more. That for me was such a letdown that they kind of got bumped down all the way to 11th place.
Damn.
Yeah.
You want to make a Durka joke?
No Durka jokes. That would have probably even been the Middle Eastern ones, not the Indians.
Really? I thought it was an Indian. I thought it was an Indian joke.
No, it could be Pakistan, kind of both.
Durka. Durka.
And then before we go, the last one, who is 10th place, is the U.S. And who would have thought in a competition of international comedy, the U.S. would place 10th? Well, I will clearly say they did not put their best foot forward because, again, these are people who are not internationally well known. So,
well, most comedians I know, even the comedy special ones are kind of crappy. So it's like I don't. The only one I like was Dan Glover, and he was like because he's international though, but still.
Well, the best comedian out of the 4 from this one was Nick Swardson, right? He pretty much is a big kid, and pretty much talked about all the dumb stuff that he's kind of done, even though he's 40-something years old. And the best part to me was a joke talking about poop on the floor. It sounds stupid. You got to hear the whole routine. He's definitely a comedian I think you should all listen to. I've seen a couple of his, total comedy specials. These sets are also 30-minute sets, not a full hour set for like specials. So
I know.
Some of the stuff gets cut down, but he's definitely the most professional and the most seasoned of all of them, and his routine was hilarious. But I do have to say, I have to mention Chris D'Elia. He's been kind of making a name for himself the last few years. He co-starred in Whitney a few years back. You kind of see him around in places, but he's not that big. He has good jokes, but then he also has moments where it is so quiet that you can see the awkwardness of the situation in his face. That's what kind of ruins it for him.
Got it.
And then there's the person I think who I feel most of you guys will enjoy is Nicole Byer. And she's someone who had a MTV show about 3-4 years back.
I heard the name before, so I'm like,
yeah,
I'm trying to remember who that is.
Candidly Nicole, she's a big black girl who just has like, she puts herself out like as a big hoe and wanted to be an actress on the show. Essentially, I feel like her comedy is what a lot of modern day women may enjoy. I feel there may even be like a racial twinge for her as well. It's just for me, right? I'm okay about with the whole idea of body positivity, but when you have a body that should be positive about, and this girl is easily obese.
Well,
So she has this whole comedy act about how she's really promiscuous, but she has standards, which I think is ironic whenever anybody says that, because then you're not as promiscuous as you're trying to make yourself out to be. Like, I don't know how you can call yourself a quality hoe.
I don't think there is such a thing.
There isn't, but these women insist that they are. And then she talks about how she's all about being a big girl, also the nonsense. Like a lot of the routine in general, pretty standard, nothing over the top. I can deal with it, pretty funny. But I mean the whole and I can get this one and I want that one and nobody wants me for the launch or whatever. I'm like, have you looked at yourself? She's built like an improper snowman. Just point blank, period. And it bothers me that everyone has to be like okay with this. Like no, I'm sure your doctor has told you need to lose weight.
Listen,
because he told my mother this, and she's not as big as you.
Bro, listen. Listen, that body positive movement thing is completely bull. Like
No. I think there's a distortion between thick and fat, and that's what's created this whole body positivity. No, thick woman, positivity. Fat woman depends on the shape.
No.
And obese women lose weight. It's that serious.
Look, that whole body positive movement, I was always thinking like, yeah, don't make fun of them, but like, don't.
Yeah, no one should tell them that they're beautiful. That's
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, don't.
Someone needs to tell them that they are going to have health issues in 5 years.
Like you tell them fact. Like, don't get me wrong. If your body's naturally thick, like you're just this is how it is. No matter what your diet, it's just who you are.
Thick,
cool,
not fat.
So like this means like this is who you are. That means like your diet it's normal. Like you eat regular food, like home cooked food, and this how you are. Cool. Right, I'm talking about if you eat chips on a daily basis, you want to be body positive. When you're eating fried chips every single day, get the hell out of my face, bro. And these models irk me with that, especially this one white model who's like, I eat chips and I take pictures and I look good. No, you don't. Please stop.
Which one?
The really big one with the tummy, like the tummy's really out there, like it has the flap over the vajayjay. Like, you know
the fupa?
Yeah, the fupa. You know exactly what I'm talking about too. You probably don't know who it is, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know who it is. There is one though who does a whole bunch of photo shoots, and she's thick, and I met her in person several times.
That's the girl I was.
Nah, she's bad in person, bro.
No, the one I'm into.
No, not the one you're talking about.
Cause she's bad.
No. Anywho, we're gonna go to our commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna finish the rest of this list of comedians, and I'm gonna give you your review on the Lego movie.
He said the U.S. is the worst one. Watch the midget. The midget's funny. Midget's hilarious. Comedian.
Give them your wings so they could fly. Would you swim across the ocean? Tell me what would you do? Tell me what would you do? What would you do for love? What would you do for love? What would you do for love, for love, for love? What would you do for love? What would you do for love? What would you do for love, for love, for love? What would you do? What if they told you you were committing a crime? Crossing that line, would you walk in the eye of the storm, or would you take cover behind that wall? Tell me, what would you do? What would you do for love? What would you do for love? dire, so that they could have a better life. Tell me what would you do? Some say I would never do those things, but you never know what you do in the name of love. In the name of love, I'll tell you what I do. I'll tell you what I do. I'll do anything. I'll do anything. I'll do anything for love. I'll do anything for
And we're back. So we already crossed off Middle East, the India, the UK, and the US. But now we're, starting at number 9 on the list of best comic acts from comedies of the world. And number 9 is Canada. So I feel like I'm surprised the Western world did so poorly, but then at the same time it shouldn't be a surprise because social justice warriors are in the West. Just saying. That means that comedy has to be censored to a certain degree. We can't say all the things we want to say. So
Unless you're brave, like.
No, unless you're willing to never get another Netflix special. These guys are about their money. Come on now. But out of Canada, the English part of Canada, I should say, is a guy named K. Trevor Wilson. This guy has material that is whatever, but it's his delivery of the material that is great. And he is so fat that during half of the routine, or more than half the routine, you can hear him on the mic, which isn't annoying because of the material that he has. So he's like constantly drinking water, breathing heavy, telling these fat jokes about himself, and all this other stuff. And overall, the performance is hilarious. I don't know if it's intentional or because he might have some sort of sleep apnea, but this guy, I couldn't stop laughing. And I was watching this on the train, so people thought I was a freaking nut job because I was laughing so hard. I was in tears through a lot of his act. A lot of it, because it was just funny. See, you're laughing. You haven't even watched it yet. That's how good this was.
No, because I'm big, so I know the struggle. And then when you watch all the big comedians, like a lot of ones, and my favorite one is Fluffy. When you watch him like do all the crazy things, he does like he's really helping you. You start laughing because you're just like, bro, you only move like 5 steps.
Why can't you breathe? Right. Now after him, there's a guy named Dave Marhehi. I know, weird. I know.
I'm 100% you butchering the crap out these names.
You should look him up.
Dave Marhehi.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
But no. And he's another guy who has a lot of really good mom jokes. Why I love mom jokes is that I have a typical black mother despite having my mom's family be Caribbean. So I feel like I should have these Caribbean mom jokes that I never could have because she's more of like a black mother. And so I enjoy when other people tell me their foreign mom stories that I wish that I had.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same thing because my mom raised me when she was young, so she never acted like a typical like Spanish mom. She acted like really young, so I'm like, okay, ma, I have to relate all the mom jokes to my grandma. Do you know how the Spanish jokes, like how they beat you all the time?
Yeah,
that's my grandma. I can't say that about my mom because my mom was always like, it doesn't bother me. I don't care. I don't care. That's how my mom always used to treat them. I don't care. You want to eat, don't eat. I'm not going to force you to eat. I don't care. Just go shower. My mom was so, I think, I will say urban or millennial because she's 40, so technically she's in the millennial. Nah. Mm-mm. Well, she was, that generation before millennials, but, almost there. Baby boomers, I think is what you call them.
Technically, she might be a late baby boomer.
Yeah, but she didn't raise like she didn't raise me like a typical Spanish mom. So like, I didn't really like understand a lot of the jokes people were making. I'm like, what's that? Like, I don't
Right.
get it.
So I mean, like for me, I enjoy these foreign mom stories for that exact reason. I didn't have the
Yo, I
typical
love
experience.
your mom jokes are funny.
And then number 8 is French Canada.
You understood them.
There's subtitles, bro.
Yeah, but reading is kind of.
I mean, I don't know if you can read, but I can.
I can read.
I
but
got glasses.
I got glasses too. Like, I just don't like reading subtitles when I'm hearing comedy or watching anime. Like, I like.
Oh, wait. You asked me if I could understand the French comedians, even though I mentioned talking about people speaking Arabic at the beginning of all this.
Well, I thought the Arabic got translated in English. You told me how they translated English. I'm thinking like it got put into English. Like
It was subbed, not dubbed. All of this is subbed, not dubbed.
I'm not gonna watch it now. It turned me off.
The English ones are English.
I don't like them. Like I watched 5 minutes of the first 3. I don't like them that much.
Nick Swartzen was literally the 4th. Like he was the best one and he was the 4th.
Yeah, I didn't give it a chance. I was
No,
like,
he really didn't.
and now that I know that there's subtitles, I'm definitely not gonna watch most of these.
And so as long as you're not as lazy as this guy.
I'm not lazy. I just like to listen to the joke in my actual language. Like
Lazy.
I don't even like listening to
You
things
can
in
watch
Spanish.
the Spanish countries.
I really don't like listening to Spanish people because we have different words. So like, ahorita in certain languages means now, and ahora means later in other. And so it's like it's a Spanish variation of different words that kind of mess up. Like bizcocho, you can't say that to a Mexican because that means pum pum, but it means cake.
But there's Mexicans in this.
Yeah, they can't.
Do you understand Mexican Spanish?
Sometimes they talk weird, like pinche and it's a like.
Okay, well we're
Pinche
gonna move on from your language barriers and get back into this. So number 8 is French Canada, and the best comedian from there, his name is Francois. And for me, I enjoyed him mostly because he simply was the funniest guy. Like I think out of all the routines coming from French Canada, I actually laughed the most during his routine. However, I want to say a special mention should be made to Catherine Levac because her stand-up I think was very unique for a female in general, and especially towards the ending of her stand-up, I feel like a lot of the jokes got funnier and funnier. So do watch it, but it is slow to build up. But at the end, it is worth it, and you see how much her comedy develops over the course of the routine.
So it's like not Kevin, Chris Rock thing where he mentions tambourine in the beginning. And
No.
Not?
No.
Got it.
It's literally just kind of like she slowly seems to be finding her stride as a comedian. Oh, snap, a laugh.
Got it.
Yeah. So like that. Number 7 is Germany, which out of all the countries, they annoyed me the most to listen to.
999.
No. Just no. And it annoys me because so there's certain countries, and the same for the Netherlands. That was also really annoying to listen to.
They annoyed you. Why you put them at number 8?
Well, I mean, to listen to was annoying. Not the comedy as a whole. It's just a language, right? For me, German, and I don't even know. I guess that's Dutch that the Netherlands speaks. But it's annoying because it's almost English, right? So you'll be listening to it, and it'll be like it sounds like it's English, but it's not English. So it hurts my ears because my mind is kind of trying to make sense of it. And then the worst part is while I'm reading the subtitles, it sounds like the word that I'm reading, but it doesn't exactly quite sound like it. So I'm just really bothered the entire time I'm trying to get through this.
It's the same thing when I listen to Italian people, and I'm like,
Yeah, you're like that's not quite finished.
yeah. I'm like, what?
So if you can bear through the struggle or just, be smart and hit the mute button, you'll enjoy the comedians that come from here. So first, it's really funny though. But first, this guy's name is Kai Yanar. His whole comedy thing was very awkward, and I think that's what was funny, like the awkwardness of his routine as well as the material. So like all these things that kind of are socially like weird to you are exactly what make him funny. But the person to mention, her name is Anissa Amani, and she's half German and half Turkish, if I'm not mistaken. First thing I'm going to say, she is bad. I mean, just wow. I'm like, you're doing comedy, why? Bad. Like, you know, she'd probably make 10 times more money with a premium Snapchat. Bad. Like,
I don't know that many comedians are like bad like
no,
like,
no, she's bad. Like, bad.
Like
Like, Tiffany Haddish looks like Nicole Byer compared to her.
well, Tiffany Haddish isn't bad. She's
No, but she's, like, all right. Like, she's doable.
yeah.
But then she looks like Nicole Byer, the big girl that I was talking, and you compared to this, because she's bad.
Well, I don't know her, so give me a celebrity that she looks.
There's
close
just no celebrity she looks like. She's bad.
no Megan Good, no like.
She doesn't look black.
Oh, I'm thinking of black girls. Cause you mentioned Tiffany Haddish. So I'm thinking she's black, so I'm like,
No,
black.
Tiffany Haddish is just a comedian right now that a lot of people say they would bang. That's the only reason why I mentioned her. I didn't say you. I said a lot of people.
I would, but just for the money.
Oh, wow.
Really.
Okay,
And she's kinda
anywho,
funny.
the other thing about it is that, yeah, she's bad, right?
Wait,
So,
hold on. Give me one.
this-
I'm gonna go off camera. I'm trying to see.
Despite her being bad as hell, right?
Oh damn.
She then is crazy intelligent. I haven't been this turned on by a woman in a very long time because she's super smart, absolutely hilarious, and bad as hell. I couldn't focus on the comedy sometimes though, and that is why she's not better than the other guy. Because I was just looking at her like, when are you gonna turn around, boo? Trying to see that cake.
I guess. I think she'll make so much money as a video vixen.
Bro, she should be. I'm telling you, if this whole comedy thing doesn't work out for you, premium Snapchat.
Even that, she's bad enough to not even need that, bro. Like, and she's
honestly-
funny. Just her Instagram will pop like crazy.
Bro, I'm telling you, bad. But again, she's the chick that was like Netflix. I don't know who you had translating me last time, but I actually meant this. Like she's on her joint. Like that chick is awesome, and she only ranks third on my female comedian list in this, by the way. Just because like taking the material for what
we're
it
up
was.
to 3.
She's only the third one. Like I have favorite female comedians mentioned in this because I feel again that they should have a separate category because their comedy is completely different.
Oh
right?
yeah.
And she's my third favorite of all the female comics in this. But bad.
I think her looks took it. Man, number 3, like.
No. Her material, I took it for the material itself, and her material is ranked third. But she's number 1 out of all the I mean, god damn. Like, damn. The only one that I was kind of interested in besides her was the
I'm 100%.
was the,
I'm 100%
gay
she's
French
not
lady.
watching this show, but damn, she is. Yo, I'm shooting my shot, but she isn't. I know she isn't, but yo, I'm shooting my
Dibs.
shot.
Dibs.
Hey, yo, listen,
Dibs.
listen,
Dibs.
listen.
Bro.
Listen, you can choose one of us. Whoever you choose, we banging. Like it doesn't matter. Like this is one girl that I literally would share. Be like, yo, bro, I can't have it this to myself. She's too bad here, bro. Like, you know how bad it is that you gotta let your homeboy hate just to have that. Like, yo, here, bro. Like, you gotta try this, bro.
Exactly. Yo, I'm telling you, bad. Then I can't, man. Like, she's bad.
like, yo, bro. Like, I have this, bro. You got it. You like, here's some, bro. Like, I gotta give you some.
Then next on the list is the Netherlands, who are ranked 6th in comedy. So the first guy, his first name is Martin. Last name it looks like Koenig, but I'm sure it's definitely not said like that. And
Martin.
Koenig. Right? So his comedy is pretty straightforward. I mean, he's nothing special, but he has a really good set of observational humors, a lot of jokes about himself. I mean, the guy spent a minute about how messed up his hair is because he's balding, and it was so relatable because of like it feels like my dad's struggle that I was dying laughing.
What? Your dad?
My dad is just not willing to go 100% bald yet, and at this time, it's kind of like, dude, like let it go.
He's doing.
Just let it go.
He has the no.
No, I've never seen a man with such little hair spend an hour on it. You know, hair growth formulas, coloring
Rogaine.
sprays, like everything in the book to try and keep what little hair he has left, and then still has the nerve to cut it from time and again. I'm like, dude, just let it grow. Like if you want it so bad, let it try and grow, and if it's not growing, that's the end. Just go bald. And it's not like he looks bad bald. Like it's just, the best part about being black is that you look good bald, but like dude, just let it go.
Well, most people look good bald as long as they
That's
have
not
a
true.
beard. As long as they have
That's
a
not
beard.
true. White people look like racists.
Wow.
But the other surprise for me is actually the female comic from the Netherlands. Her name, gonna butcher this. Literally, it's spelled like sound dose. Yeah, so I'm sure it's like Sonidos Al Mahadi. The last part I know I got, but the first name I have no idea how to. It's spelled like sound OS. And one, I must say, I was impressed more than her comedy by her twerk skills. Yeah, I know that face. She literally takes a moment in the middle of her act to turn around, shake her butt, awkwardly shaped as it is, but meaty it was because it jiggled like crazy, and then had the ability to do each cheek standalone. I was very impressed. And this is a married woman with a daughter. She has a pretty face, but her body overall just is very awkward and oblong.
Well, if the cheeks can move like that, she can
I
get
mean,
from
honestly,
behind.
but let me put it to you this way: I know why she's a mother. Like,
Yeah, you ever seen them girls in the shit? You're like, with the kids, you're like,
how?
some girls you question like, who would touch you? Then the other girls were like, I completely
Yeah,
understand.
I wouldn't have pulled out either.
Yeah, dude, like some girls you understand why, other girls are just like, why?
Well, with her, definitely. But her comedy, she cares. And not to say that her material was the best, but her personality, her control of the mic, and her frankness to just kind of be like, I don't give a fuck what you think. That I love the most about her routine. It was definitely worth the watch. But the twerk skills, again, very impressed. Just wow. I'm overall in this entire thing, I was surprised by how many other skills these comedians had.
Twerk skills on point. Twerk.
Yeah, I mean, for real.
You're probably there clapping it up like.
Now, before we get to our top 5, we're just going to do a quick movie review. And then we're going to go to commercial break for the last break. So, the movie that you were talking about seeing was the Lego movie.
Yes.
I'm going to start off with the fact that it's not as good as the first.
Well, nothing is good as his first.
That is not always true.
Spider-Man 2 wasn't better than Spider-Man 1.
Spider-Man 2 was the worst of all the Spider-Man.
I thought 3 was.
No. I could take parts of 3, but 2, where half the action is CGI rolling around and not even punching or pitching, yeah, that can burn in hell. That's all I care. At least, you know what? Spider-Man 3 outdid all of Spider-Man 2 when Peter Parker went with his black hair emo thing and started dancing down the street.
That was funny.
That's it.
It became so bad that it's so good.
The Lego Movie 2, it was amusing. It was fun. I feel like you're gonna enjoy it. They had a good back and forth between the Lego world and the real world. And a solid 4 out of 5. It just wasn't as entertaining and not enough Will Ferrell, which I never thought I would ever say. But yeah.
Well, like I said, like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was The only good part about it was the beginning. Deadpool 2 wasn't as good as Deadpool 1.
Charles says to keep going.
Pretty much.
Prodigy is another movie that came out. It is a horror flick where this lady finds out her son is pretty twisted and demented. I can't give away more than that because honestly, giving away any more would literally tell you a lot about the movie. What I will say is that this movie is 2.5 out of 5. I think that you'll enjoy it. I don't necessarily think you need to see it in theaters, but you should definitely see it. And it is a lot better than any of the trailers make it out to seem.
Well, the only movie I really want to watch is Ultima right now.
Meh. Alita's coming out, so I'm definitely
That's the one I'm
about to
talking
see
about,
that.
Alita. Sorry, I have to say Ultima, but I mean Alita. Alita's the one I want to see.
Yeah, it's coming out on my birthday, so hype.
We'll be out.
Nah, I'm waiting. I'm gonna wait. I'm not doing anything on the day of family time. But to get through our top 5 and then our fans of the week.
Just rush it.
Huh?
Just rush it.
No, I'm not gonna rush crazy. Number 5 is France. Jason Brookers had the most real relatable humor I've heard in a long time. It's just that all of France wasn't as funny as him. However, the honorable mention, also the girl, the second most popular girl, I guess, for me, Shirley, I'm going to mess this up, Suganon. No. She's a black lesbian comedian who definitely had a wide span of topics to talk about, and something about her oddly turned me on. It wasn't the smart thing. Like, she just literally turned me on. I don't know what it is. It's probably just her swag.
Was she big or was she little?
Nah, she was little. She was a dyke.
Maybe that's why.
Maybe that's what I don't know what it was.
Well,
but
you
like,
are into muscle girls sometimes.
some, but she wasn't muscular. It was just, I don't know. Something about her
She-
swag. She can get it.
Well, it was like she can get it. Like
You know, that's the be all end all.
my
The
wee wee
reason
was
why.
hard for like half that show.
Boom. But then number 4 is Australia, New Zealand. I feel like these comedians are great. First, I want to mention Nazim Hussain, another guy with really good mom stories. I love really good mom stories.
Real happy when you say it. I like
He
it.
was so funny. Like, his mom sounds like the best person to travel with ever.
Well, I can do Australian because they're English, so I can do them.
Right. And then the next guy was probably my favorite out of all the gay comedians throughout all of this. But his name is Joel Greasy. Yes. And and he
looked at me,
was
he was like, yes.
absolutely hilarious.
I'm 100% sure he should have made fun of his name too.
Oh my god, I loved this guy. He was so gay in all the best ways. It was awesome. I haven't enjoyed gay humor this much since Ant on like that the comedy competition on NBC.
Oh, I know it's
The Last Common Standing. Like, yeah, this guy was absolutely awesome. I feel like he's that annoying gay guy on every TV show, but actually the funny version of what that guy was supposed to be.
Got it.
Awesome. Just
Well, to me,
awesome.
the only gay comedian I really know about is Jabuka Young White, but that's because he's on the Daily Show. And I
Fair
watch
enough.
that. He's pretty funny.
Now number 3 was Brazil. And this surprised me. I didn't think Brazil was going to be that funny. Brazil, every comedian from Brazil was legit. Period.
So just Brazil.
Brazil's number 3 ranked, but the best one from Brazil is Alfonso Padilla. You gotta listen to all of them. They're all great. The female comic was probably my favorite one, Mahel Moreira.
Well, she's Brazilian, so I'm assuming she's bad.
She no,
Really?
but she was funny as hell.
Okay.
And also Tiago Ventura was stand up, like boom, like
Tiago
awesome.
Ventura,
Yes,
like the movie,
I guess so.
like Ace Ventura.
Like Ventura, yeah. Number 2 of all the countries is Mexico. Again, another country where everybody was funny. You may even like the chick. You may find her attractive.
Or LA Holmes.
But the first one is Hugo El Cojo Feliz. He's the best.
His last
Best.
name, he's happy.
He's
His last
best.
name, he's happy.
Out of all of them. But every comedian from Mexico was just on point. Great acts. It's just that Hugo did the whole, like, I'm handicapped, making fun of handicapped people thing. And it's like, and you should make fun of handicapped people too. And that right there beats everybody. But the best and funniest country, according to comedians of the world,
And Will.
Definitely
This
me.
is Will. This is Will's.
South Africa. South Africa is known for 3 things, right? Charlize Theron, apartheid / Mandela, right? And Trevor Noah.
Yeah, but he's funny.
But Trevor Noah might have been the up and coming of blowing up South African comedy. He's not the first one. But these guys from South Africa, they don't care. Like, they just don't care. And in fact,
Well, they're from Africa. What you expect? They don't
that's
care.
the whole thing. And that, they say that, like, yo, I don't know what's up with you American people. Y'all are messed up. The best comedian from this, right, is Leoso Gola. He is hilarious. Watch all of his stand-up. Like, everything he does is solid. He has great observational humor. He loves comparing everything to Africa. And, I mean, this guy is great. Then the best female from this entire thing, in all honesty, is from his country. Her name is Tumi, and she has no care in the world. She's great. She's hilarious. She's a mother. She's a sex fiend, and she's the best thing since sliced bread.
When was sliced bread a good thing? Like, I don't
1600s.
like, bro, I prefer my heroes. Like, like I don't want.
But all I'm saying is, if you're gonna watch anything, and it's in English, South Africa, watch all 4 of them.
I like South Africa. So
And look at that. U.S. is in this, but the place where all the black people at is the funniest.
Yeah.
Notice that. Black people, funniest people in the world.
I know. Like, I think isn't Godfrey from South Africa too?
I believe so, actually.
Yeah, he's funny.
Dude, the funniest thing in the freaking
Like, he
thing. I watched almost, like, I guess this is like almost, 15 hours of comedy, South Africa. easily the best. The most annoying part was the fact that they were so good. I had to watch everything after them. Like I watched like 7 or 9 countries after them. I'm just like, why aren't you as good as South Africa? Like,
Why you sound like a judgmental white guy?
I was mad. All right. So real quick, before we end the show, our fans of the week are Kiki and Yoshi, who's been a fan of the week plenty of times before. And
Our Kiki?
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
I looked, I'm like, I think I know who that is.
and Courtney Leclerc, who is a fan on the Facebook page. No, you're not shooting your shot at Courtney this week.
Is she? Is she?
I'm not even gonna say. You already
Yo.
shot. You already shot your shot at Anissa.
Yo, Courtney, I don't know what you look like, but if you look good, hit me up.
Wow.
Whoopi's love connection. Remember, when he has a female fan that I might consider, Whoopi's love connection. Don't get offended if I take my shot back though, because I don't know what you look like.
And then last but not least, our picture of the week is pretty much saying something I've been saying since I've seen Incredible 2s. I want that Disney Pixar special short of when Edna was babysitting their kid. From the girl who makes super suits, babysitting.
Oh, got it.
Dude, that's like the best duo ever. And on that note, this has been another episode of
That's
Will's
not the best
Review.
duo ever.
Bro.
The Baby and the Raccoon is the best duo ever. That was
Rivals!
that was funny.
We out.
Holla. Eastside Harlem rapping. Make New York grimy again, son. Deuces.
Excuse me, I'm next in line. Move. Excuse me, I'm next in line. Watch out. Excuse me, I'm next in line. I said move. Excuse me, I'm next in line.